happened. I know we're getting into the colder weather, and there's something very cozy about it, you know. You get to put on your warm scarf and your sweaters. I like sweater weather. So, you're all tucked in, you're ready for bed. That's right. Of course, everything's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be okay. You're safe. You're cozy. You're warm. You're relaxed. And you're going to get a very good night's rest, aren't you? Yes, you are. Of course you are, my schnitzel. Daddy loves you very, very much. I do. I do love you very, very much. You know that, right? Good. Well, it's funny. I wonder sometimes, you know, if I say that too often. Well, it's that, you know, I don't think that my grandfather heard that very often, and maybe my father did a little bit. But I mean, I think my father told me he loved me. You know, I wouldn't describe him as a gushy man. I don't think he was overly sentimental. But it's possible that, you know, I don't know, can you hear I love you too much? You know, I don't know. I don't think so. I think the key is, right, is that as long as it's genuine, as long as you mean it, and that's one thing that's very interesting we can get with our language, you know, it's very easy to get flippant or glib, where you're saying the words, you know, but they're not really attached to what they mean, right? So I can imagine if somebody says, I love you too much, or if when they're saying it, they don't really mean it, that could be a problem, you know, that if it's disingenuous, then it doesn't count, you know. But I hope you know, in your heart of hearts, in your deepest, your bones of bones, in your inner soul, that I love you very much, no matter what. Okay? No matter what, I will always love you. And I remember my own mother and father having a conversation like this with me. I must have been a bit about your age, maybe a bit younger, I can't remember. But I remember them telling me, Helmut, no matter what you do, no matter how bad you mess up, your mother and I will always love you. Always. And I guess maybe, you know, I might have taken that a little bit for granted. You know, not realizing that perhaps that's not everybody's experience. So, I want you to know that I don't take it for granted. I don't take you for granted. Okay? And it's as long as I'm alive, I will do everything in my power to make sure that you know that you are loved and cared for. Okay? Okay, good. So, you're all ready for bed. Good, you brushed your teeth. Alright, smell check. Give me a very nice, minty fresh. Very nice. And I'm going to have a sip of water. Do you have your water ready? Good. Good. Yeah, your morning water is very, very important. Cheers. Yeah, I started doing the big glass of water in the morning maybe 10 years ago. I remember I watched a documentary on it called, like, what was it called? Like Real Food Daily something. It was a health food documentary, And I remember one of the presenters said that one of the most important things you can do in the morning is have a big tall glass of water. You just want to, you drink it before you have your coffee, before you have anything else. Just get a nice big glass of water. And I remember I thought, well, that sounds like pretty good advice. Why not try it myself? You know, I'll just try it on and see if I like it. I started doing it, and lo and behold, I genuinely started feeling better in the morning. You know, I don't always feel like drinking a big glass of water the first thing. It might take a few minutes, you know, to drink it in the morning, but haven't you noticed that you feel better when every morning you have a nice big glass of water, that you feel a little bit better? You have, right? Right. Good. Makes me happy. I'm glad that little bits of advice that I may have, little bits of wisdom, can help you out. Because that's another thing, you know. It's like all we're trying to do as parents, all we're trying to do is to hopefully make our child's life a little bit better. That's all we want. So that every generation heals a little bit from the previous generation, that we see the mistakes that they made and we do our best to correct them. Yeah? Okay. I'm going to have a bit more water. Now, I don't necessarily recommend you drink too much water before you go to bed, because then you have to get up in the night and use the bathroom, right? So I don't recommend drinking a ton of water right before you go to bed. Yeah? Right. I mean, you can do you, just saying. You'll probably have to wake up and use the bathroom, which can be a little bit annoying. Yeah? Okay. Anyway, enough of that talk. So, what was the best part of your day? Oh, you liked working with your friend on the project, nice. Yeah, you know what? I remember when I was a young man, I had a friend of mine, and Ben, and we would get together many days after school. We would get together and do our homework together. And I remember thinking, it's so much more fun to do my homework with my friend. You know, we'd work on projects together. We'd even things like writing essays. You know, when I'd do like a book report projects. Just doing my work next to my friend. For some reason, you know, makes the work go by a little easier. Goes by a little faster. Yeah. So I love that for you. Yeah. I don't know, you know, if the friendships, if you'll be friends forever. I don't know. Maybe. I know people who have been friends since, you know, they were in the kindergarten. You know, I have friends who've known each other since they were young children and stayed in touch. For me, it's interesting. I think it's because certainly, look, clearly I don't live in my home city anymore. You know, I left Germany when I was fairly young. I was a teenager, and but I certainly, when I came to the United States, I had to I was going to say reinvent myself. I don't think that's totally true. I don't think I reinvented myself, but I had to re-establish myself. You know, with new people and that didn't know me, and I had to make new friends. And the reality is, you know, it's difficult to actually not difficult. It takes energy to stay in touch. It takes energy to keep up with your old friends, for lack of a better word. And that's why it's very, very important to be selective with who you choose to spend time with. I forget who said it. It was someone of the famous self-help guys like Covey or somebody. And they said, show me the 5 people that somebody spends their time with, and I'll show you, I'll know all I need to know about the person, basically. And I understand why. I don't think it's necessarily 100% true, but I understand the wisdom, because all of us, you and me and everybody, we have a limited amount of bandwidth that we can share with other people, We only have a limited amount of energy that we can really put into other people and other relationships. And if you're putting your time and your energy into people that are not making you feel better about you, if you're not putting your energy into people who are in turn feeding you and excited that you are growing and that you are doing better and doing fun and cool things, then you're likely to fall on a negative path, unfortunately. We must be very mindful of who we want to spend our time with. But that's why one of the reasons I'm so proud of you is because, based on what I'm seeing, is that you are choosing to spend your time wisely and with good people who you help once they help you, or you help make them feel better and more accomplished like the good people, and they make you feel like you're a good person and you're doing things well and you want to work hard and you want to exceed and you want to excel and do very, very good, I can tell. I'm very proud of you for this. I think it shows a great deal of maturity on your part. I was thinking recently about, how only a few generations ago, in the very near past, life was very different, much harder, and it was reflected in, like the Grimm's fairy tales, the Disney versions, the story of, Cinderella, and how she, the poor farm girl, she loses her parents, and she goes and lives with the mean stepmother and the mean stepsisters, and they treat her really poorly and all that. But then one night, she gets the fairy godmother, and so fairy godmother gives her a gown and wants the chariot and the horses, and she goes to the ball, and she meets the prince, and then eventually, she has to come back. Then the prince has to find her, who she is, based on the glass slipper. Well, I believe in the original that one of the sisters, they're trying to fight for the prince's love, and one cuts off her own foot to fit into the glass slipper. I know, it's super creepy. But I think the thing about the original fairy tales, like the Grimm's fairy tales, is that you have to realize they seem maybe gruesome, to you and me. But when they were written, at the time they were written, life was so much harder in the 1800s. Life was, so much more difficult every day, was much more of a strive to survive in a way that I think it's very difficult for you and me to really imagine. But luckily, we don't have to, you and I don't have to live that way anymore. You and I get to have warm, hot showers and hot baths, and we get to enjoy hot meals and warm, cozy beds. It's like your bed isn't itchy. Not long ago, it was not uncommon that your mattress was made out of straw. I know, straw. You take your sheet, but yet straw stuffed into your mattress. That made your bed. You can imagine that a straw mattress might be a little bit lumpy, maybe a bit itchy, right? I'm glad you don't sleep on a straw mattress. I certainly am. And so there's so many wonderful little things that you and I get to experience. And I'm just reminded of that. Being grateful. And very grateful for you. You're always up on my main list of gratitudes. What are the things I'm most grateful for? It's you. It's your mother. Those are the biggies. Those are the biggies, and the people, your grandma and grandpas, your aunts and uncles, everybody. That those are the important things. It's a family, and it's a connection. Yeah. Because that's the thing about, that's the family. Even nobody, you get the most angry, probably, at your mother and me, right? Right. And that's how it should be. It's because the people that you love the most are the ones that can hurt you the most, because they know your secrets, and they can maybe, embarrass you or something. It's the people that you love the most that hurt you the most, because they matter. And that's a good thing. It's a good thing. It's important that you be open to allowing love all the time. And so while you may get the most frustrated sometimes at your mother and me, I just think that's healthy. It just means that you care, and that you love us back, So, yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about that. It's part of being in a family. But that's the important thing, is that your family, we stick together. We look after each other. That in the crazy world that we live in, no matter what happens, no matter what, that you can always rely and count on your mother and I loving you. Okay? No matter what. We'll always have a place to stay if you need it. Doesn't mean that I'm not going to be tough on you, that I'm not going to have expectations of you, okay? Of course I do. I hold you in very high, and I hold your standard very high. And if something goes horribly wrong, that your mother and I always love you and will always have your back, no matter what, okay? All right, pinky promise. Good. All right, well, I'm keeping you up later than I should. I think you should be in bed. Yeah? Want me to give you some sleepy fingers for bed? Of course I'll give you some sleepy fingers. Of course I will. Okay. Good. Now, sleepy fingers. Close your eyes. Sleepy fingers. Sleep tight. Have wonderful dreams. And when you wake up tomorrow, you're gonna feel refreshed. You're gonna feel vibrant. You're gonna have wonderful positive energy. Sleepy fingers, yes you are. You're gonna have a wonderful day. And you're going to have fascinating